He found a water hole on the mountain. The old man said there were countless such holes, and what he had to do was to divert this mountain water elsewhere. As the event brewed, over 1,000 volunteers from China, Russia, the USA, and the UK showed up. Among them, 2 volunteers from the British Cave Rescue Council became the game changers of this rescue. They jumped out of the car, put on their wetsuits faster than you can say pool party, and raced to the scene. The staff briefed them on the cave's situation, while the water pumping machine in Chamber 3 was having a snooze. However, they discovered the water pump was on strike, clearly too lazy to work. This place was more dangerous than expected. Narrow with sharp limestone, it was like a prankster's maze. Every meter felt like solving a puzzle, and after 4 hours, they finally arrived at the trapezoidal junction 1,600 meters from the entrance. This was the furthest point reached by the SEAL team, clearly entering the ultimate challenge of the adventure. Just as they were moving ahead, the water surged suddenly, almost like water flooding the Golden Mountain. Thankfully, they were uninjured, so they promptly decided to stop the investigation and return, a timely retreat. On the way back, they suddenly heard frantic metal clanging. It turned out the repairman was drowning in the rising waters. Rick had to give the gear to John and decided to rescue the repairman first, such a heartwarming gesture. But for the repairman, who had no diving experience, being underwater was terrifying and maddening. Soon, the repairman lost his mind due to aquaphobia, swimming upwards frantically like a fish out of water. Rick had to help him with the mask, but as soon as the repairman woke up, he swam off as if on his own little adventure. Luckily, the 3rd chamber was just up ahead. The repairman narrowly avoided a mishap, and Rick sighed in relief. The 2 dove back safely, and by day 7, everyone thought the kids were missing in action, and parents were at their wits' end. They just wanted their children's bodies back, while the deputy leader was busy plotting. The water level during the downpour was relentless. The rescuers felt like they were in a water warfare. So, the deputy decided to postpone any further actions until the rain came to a halt. Meanwhile, John and Rick volunteered to dive back in, showing unwavering faith in underwater adventure. 30 years of cave diving experience, they were like underwater superheroes. But due to various safety considerations, the deputy ultimately decided to wait until the rain had completely ceased before initiating the rescue operation, and to this day, we remain unaware if the 13 trapped inside the cave are still alive. By the arrival of the 8th day, the deputy had encountered a hydraulic engineer, and they were preparing to embark on an ambitious water conservancy project. The deputy wanted to lend a hand and see how to wrangle that water, but diverting water to the other side of the mountain would turn farmland into an aquatic wonderland. The old man laid out the entire situation with dramatic flair, as if narrating a stage play. Someone inquired whether they were diverting water to the farmland for irrigation. The crowd immediately ignited in a lively discussion. Apparently, the topic underwater was indeed intense and drawing much attention. Eventually, after careful consideration, they reached a consensus to collaborate with the government, jointly initiating an ambitious project, namely, forming a groundwater alliance. The mountain water was skillfully diverted to the farms, signaling that the fields would soon transform into a vast ocean, undoubtedly marking the commencement of a war. By day 9, the rain stopped. The SEAL team waited for waters to recede, a water theme park experience. Entering day 10, the rescue action was back on, like prepping for a water party. John and Rick successfully arrived at the junction, akin to leveling up in a game. Soon, they arrived at Batu Beach, close to the water's edge, but no sign of any kids. They were even mentally prepared to look for bodies, as if ready to pop balloons. Until 2,500 meters from the entrance, they suddenly smelled something like solving a mystery. In the distance, dim lights flickered, seemingly reminding them not to give up. Miraculously, all 13 survived 10 days in the cave. What a scene. The kids said their coach taught them meditation, which helped them survive 10 days. What a blessing. The kids even attempted to dig through the cave with their bare hands, like hosting a treasure hunt party. On the way back, John and Rick cleverly decided to leave a flashlight. They were truly like an old married couple. It took 16 hours and 13 minutes to return to town, and John delivered the good news and videos to the rescuers like a savvy mischief maker. Rick had some concerns and urged them not to leak the news, setting the stage for a future film. However, the news spread like a spring breeze, and everyone was in a frenzy. Yet behind the overwhelming hope lay deeper despair. Only Rick and John wore solemn faces. Finding the kids' whereabouts troubled Rick and John, while locating them was easy. Getting them out was the real challenge. Getting the kids out of the cave was the biggest challenge, who said underwater transport was an art. The leadership claimed their divers had rich experience, but Rick retorted that this isn't just a diver issue. Ultimately, this step was nearly impossible. Underwater claustrophobia would be the nightmare of adventurers. On the 11th day, the kids wondered if no rescue was coming, while the coach was like a therapist. Rick introduced the upcoming junction to them. The Rapi on Batter Beach awaited their easy mode adventure. To reach the kids in Chamber 9, they must conserve 2/3 of their oxygen, otherwise it would become a shock-feeding frenzy. By the 12th day, the deputy leader, under immense pressure, spread the latest updates, putting everyone at ease, almost like the arrival of Iron Man. The children's mother was anxious, fearing they might be treated differently due to their nationality, a true scene of nationality drama.